Damn. What's up, everybody? Welcome to Catch the Craze podcast tonight. So I'm not sure if George is going to make it. So he's trying to on his end, but we'll see if he will make it. If not, we're going to fly this ship solo. And tonight we have a very special guest on the show. We have John Escobales, and he's going to be talking about the Royal and a bunch of other stuff. So without further ado, let's get it.
We are the only show for independents all around, giving you a platform to spread your word all over town. Catch the Craze is the place to promote to your fans with the dream of Medina and Sam the Crazy Man. Subscribe to our show and never miss an episode. It's time to get your mans, listen to us on the go. Updated every week, we never miss a day. Join the squad, come on in. It's time to catch the Craze. If you are an independent, catch the Craze. Making moves on your own, catch the Craze. On your grind in the streets, catch the Craze. Join the movement, catch the Craze.
Yeah, George, we did it again. Come on now. You know you want to do it. Catch the Craze. The Catch the Craze podcast. I'm your host with the most, Sam the Crazy Man Bearer, and I am with me, myself, and I. What's up, everybody? What's up? So another episode of Catch the Craze podcast. I'm your host with the most, Sam the Crazy Man Bearer. What's up, creators outlet in his house?
Yay!
All right, so we have another special guest on tonight. We got John Escobales. We're going to be talking to him about his career in comics and his book right now on Kickstarter, The Royal. Link is in the comments, in the subject matter below, and it will be in the comments in just a second. But before we do, just give you a rundown of what's been happening and what's going on. So Kickstarter is releasing the funds for Cosmic Wars. Should be getting it by Saturday, I think it is, or it's maybe Monday, right? Because Saturday is not a business day. So Monday it'll show up. I'm on the last couple of pages. We're still on target for you guys to get it all in May. So I just finished a double page splash that took me a few days because it was establishing shot and establishing shots of the kingdom and the landscape and all the other stuff. If you followed me, if you grew up with me, from back in the days, you know that originally when I created comics, I used to create my backgrounds for Cosmic Wars in the 3D program, and then I would take my illustrations and draw over the 3D. I would export the 3D images as a bitmap and import them into Photoshop, and then I would convert it, and then I would illustrate over those 3D backgrounds. So what I did was I said I wanted to recreate, because I did one of these landscape scenes in 3D back in the day, so I wanted to recreate it, in 2D illustration and redraw it. So that's what I was doing. I was trying to recreate it and drawing it. So the great thing about it is Cosmic Wars issue 0 and 1 was my basically my storyboards for issue 0, which was funded and we completed on the campaign. So just finished doing that double page. I have a few establishing shots. I have one for the Kingdom of Castalia. I have one for Lord Evil's lair. And then I have another one for Zarkinar's lair, right? So those take quite a while because there's always a lot of little elements and a lot of zooming in and drawing and zooming out and zooming in and zooming out and zooming in and zooming out just to get those little details. But right now, there's Nailing in My Toilet. It launches this summer. So Duty is back in the Duty files. So if you haven't signed up already, please do so. When we get to 50 signups, we will have a live cover reveal. So link is in the chat. If you haven't done so already, we're up to 22. So again, once we get to 50, we will be doing a live cover reveal for There's Nailing in My Toilet. Issue number 8, the Duty Files, which is pretty exciting. Duty's back and in full force. So I know that we ended at issue 7 last summer, and then we launched Forbidden, and then we launched Cosmic Wars, and now we're back with Duty. So Duty's back. So everybody who's got the first 7 issues, don't worry, we're back on target. Issue 8 comes out this summer, and it's going to be a blast. It's a new twist, a lot of new puzzles to solve, and more hijinks and adventure and comedy. So on a convention update, I did LitCon a couple weeks ago. I canceled doing a guest appearance for Free Comic Book Day. Unfortunately, because of work, I won't be able to do it. There's a conflict with work. And I also canceled all conventions up until July. I will be doing a convention in July, then I'll take August off, and then I'll be back in swing in the fall. But I wanted to take this time off to fulfill Cosmic Wars and finish drawing the pages for Disneyland My Toy in issue number 8. As you know, I do everything myself. Cosmic Wars is written, illustrated, ink, colored, lettered by me. And Disneyland My Toy, I do everything, but George does the lettering for that one. So I wanted the time to just catch up because work is taking a lot of my time. So I need every moment to not be getting ready for a convention, not be getting ready to travel, booking hotels and all that other crap. I need the time to really just work on my craft and get the books done and get it out to you guys. And then I'm also updating my website because my website is really not driving the traffic that I wanted to because it's very complicated. So I'm trying to simplify the website, just make it a one-stop shop just to get whatever you need from me, and order the books and the latest stickers and all the other stuff. So trying to make it more fun, more easy, one click and go. Right now you got like multiple clicks and you're like, oh, where do I start? So that's my fault. My bad. I was trying to overthink stuff and now I'm trying to just dumb it down. Website for dummies starts right here. And so that's me. And but yeah, that's it. So tonight we're gonna bring in our guest. We're not going to, since I don't have George to go over the banter and make fun of and all that stuff. I'm going to bring in our guest, and we're just gonna get this crack-a-lackin'. And if you're in the whether you're watching us on Facebook or on Twitch or on YouTube, don't forget to hit that like button, subscribe, share it with a friend, let everybody know where you found us. In fact, I gotta go to Facebook right now. And then we've hit the mute button on this. And make sure that on Facebook, I cast the Craze podcast. Let's just make sure that everybody knows on Facebook. Normally, I would stream on multiple platforms, 6 rather than the ones that I'm doing right now. But I decided not to because it's just too complicated to stream on a whole lot of platforms. Why isn't it showing up? Facebook has been acting all crazier lately, and I don't know what's going on with it, but I can't seem to find stuff anymore on my page, but it is what it is. I'm gonna try one more time. Let's see. Here it is. Is it there? 1, 2, there it is. All right, cool. All right, I'm gonna share this out on Facebook, and we're gonna bring in our guest. Join us live. All right, cool. All right, welcome to the stage, the one, the only, John Escobales. What's up, buddy? Welcome to the show.
Hey, how are you?
Welcome back.
Nice to see you.
You too,
Nice
buddy.
intro.
Thank you. So it's been a while.
It's been a while.
A little update on for anybody new that might be listening on audio platforms or anything else. So who are you, and what do you do?
I'm John Escobales. I'm a writer, and I'm probably most known for The Road to Valhalla through GWP with Keith Murphy and Hector Rodriguez.
Yep.
And I've got a couple of things coming out. I got something coming out from Panico Press pretty soon. And I've got this Kickstarter on The Royal. On my God. Is it that late?
Yes.
I've got a Kickstarter campaign called The Royal.
Nice.
Medieval horror story.
Absolutely. So before we get into the Royal, let's get into your story. So where are we talking to you from? Where are you based out of?
Connecticut.
Now, you grown up in Connecticut your whole life?
Pretty much, yeah. Most of it, yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, most of it.
So in Connecticut, what was the young Escobales into as a kid?
Oh, boy. My dad taught martial arts, so I was into martial arts, whether I wanted to be or not. And Yeah, that, and I read a lot of comic books as a kid. I was sick as a kid. I had really bad asthma, so I was in and out of the hospital. I spent more time in the hospital than I did in school up until like 5th grade. Then I actually started going to school. But yeah, so I read a lot of comic books. My dad used to bring them to me in the hospital. My uncle used to deliver them to like news racks and places like that, tobacco shops. And he used to bring me a pile of them too. So yeah, I read a lot of comics as a kid. I learned how to read reading comic books. So that's what
That's
I was
awesome.
into. That and martial arts.
So, what was the comic book of choice at that age for you?
Master of Kung Fu.
Nice,
Yeah,
nice. Wow.
def Master of Kung Fu. Obviously, the martial arts was something I was in, whether I wanted to be or not. Even though
Yeah,
I did, I mean, as a kid, I loved it. I learned early on the benefits of it, um, and it's been a lifelong thing for me. But yeah, Master of Kung Fu was the book, and then of course I liked Brave and the Bold, Jim Aparo's Batman, and I liked all the other popular normal stuff, Batman, Superman. I liked Superman a lot as a kid. I loved Spider-Man, the Romita years,
nice.
the Perez Avengers years, Fantastic Four. I liked those a lot. But I also liked, my uncle would only bring me the books he liked, which were like Black Panther, a Man Thing. Um, oh geez, what else? Savage Sword of Conan. Conan was a big thing.
Nice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So and all the magazines. He would always bring me the magazines. Rampaging Hulk, Planet of the Apes, Deadly Hands of Kung Fu. Oh, those were a blast. Those were my favorites. Yeah.
That's awesome. Now, did you grow up in the era of the Saturday 3 o'clock in the afternoon kung fu flicks?
Oh, you kidding me? Yeah. Channel 5, Channel 9.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, yeah. How many times
Did
did you
you
sit
own
through the 5 Deadly Venoms?
did you own a pair of the black slip-ons with the brown bottoms? And you try
Oh
to run in
yeah.
it, your feet
Yeah.
burn?
Oh yeah. Yeah. Plenty of pairs of those over the years. Yes. How about you?
Yeah, yeah. Just don't run in them because I tried running them in the street and my feet were burning.
Oh, dude, get yourself killed. You trip over your feet. Those things
Yeah,
were
yeah.
flimsy. You got your big toe out of there like within like 3 or 6 months.
Yes, there's always that hole in the big toe area. Yep.
Yeah, they're not
Yeah,
sneakers, but when you're young and you watch enough kung fu movies, you think you're supposed to dress that way.
yeah, yeah. Remember, Saturday was a ritual. It was you get up in the morning, you did the Saturday morning cartoons. You went out at noon and you played wiffle ball or on your BMX bike with your friends. Then everybody ran home at 3 o'clock. Then everybody came outside with their nunchucks and their slippers on, and right after it, it was awesome.
Yeah. Yeah. War in the neighborhood. Yeah, everybody comes running out. Some kids didn't even know what was going on. You just went out there and scared the hell out of them. But
Yeah, yeah,
my
yeah. That
dad
was
used to
awesome.
make nunchucks out of broomstick handles.
Oh
He would,
wow.
oh yeah, he would sand them down and paint them up, put all these little runes on them. I still have a pair someplace. I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I don't
he
think
was into it.
I think every pair of nunchucks I hit myself in the forehead at least once.
Well, that's good effort.
Yeah. Yeah. So during that time, when did you first make your first writing attempt?
Pretty early on. I probably in middle school, like 6th grade, 7th grade. I had a really good English teacher in 6th grade who turned me on to, like The Outsiders, S.E. Hinton stuff.
Yeah.
And I had a cousin who was, she was, I don't want to call her eccentric, but she was into a lot of the beat writing stuff. So she turned me
Yeah.
on to Jack Kerouac and to J.D. Salinger's Catcher in the Rye, stuff like that. And
Nice.
yeah, I wanted to write pretty straight on right from 6th grade. But I didn't know
Nice.
I
So
would want to write comic books. I was writing other stuff,
what were you writing?
short stories, just story. I watched all those kung fu movies, right? But I also watched like Death Wish, and I watched
Charles
oh
Bronson.
man,
Yeah.
there was a great Jan Michael Vincent movie that used to go on back then about like him being in a neighborhood. I can't remember the name of the movie, but there were movies like that, noir and pulp type of stuff, which is still my favorite stuff.
Nice. 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 So
The Warriors was another one.
the movie The Warriors?
Yeah.
Oh my God. It's a
That's
classic,
big
man.
influence. Big influence
Oh,
on me. Yeah.
Oh, it
I
was
lived in a
yeah.
nice suburban neighborhood, but I wanted to live in, I wanted to live in darker areas.
Oh, I lived in those areas. I lived in those
Yeah.
areas. Yes. So
I had cousins and family who did, and I used to get to go over their places and experience it that way through them. But
it was the Warriors that made me and my friends want to get our own jackets.
right, yeah,
we,
group
we
jackets.
wanted to,
We're
yeah,
together. We're all together.
yeah, yeah. Have you seen the Wanderers?
The Wanderers. That's newer, right?
No, that was
Is
at
that
the same time. It came out at the
really the
same time.
Wanderers?
Yes, and the Warriors got more attention, but Wanderers came out, was competing with it, and you got to see the Wanderers. I mean,
I'll have to
it's
look it up
awesome.
now.
Yeah, it's
I will.
awesome. I mean,
Thanks.
if you take
I'll definitely check
Greece
that out.
meets the Warriors, and that's
That
what
was
you
a
get in
great
the
time for
Wanderers.
film.
Yes, yes. So now you were writing short stories. When was the transition into comics? What's up, Lupin's in the house? What was your transition
I
to
think I
comics?
got into comics. I was writing comics like in middle school with a couple of artist friends of mine, but it didn't go anywhere, They wanted to write, they just wanted to draw Marvel characters. They didn't want to write their own character. They didn't want to create their own characters. They just wanted to work for Marvel. So, but I would write, they would ask me to write scripts for them. So like the Submariner, Fantastic Four, it was all Marvel stuff. But yeah, I fooled around with it, but I didn't know anything about how to do it. I didn't know about format those days. And I just kept writing all through high school. I took journalism classes, and I wrote, like I interviewed bands, I I reviewed shows, reviewed movies, all that stuff, um, until I started getting into music myself, and then I started writing my own songs and doing that for a while. And when that was starting to crater, I started picking up comic books again. I'd stopped somewhere when I got into music. I kind of put the brakes on the comic books. I worked in a comic book distribution center, so I was getting like every book that came out. Um,
Dang,
God, like 6, 7 years, every book that came out, I got a copy of.
that's awesome.
So yeah, I wasn't greedy like a lot of the other guys who worked there who would take like 5 and 6 copies of each book. I was just happy to have one. Sometimes I get my brother a couple. But yeah, so yeah, when I had to pay for books, I didn't want to do that anymore. So yeah, I was
Yeah.
playing in bands and experiencing that lifestyle. So I wasn't as into writing as many stories as I was into writing songs at that point. But then when that whole thing cratered, I got back into comics right around the time of The Authority and Planetary and 100 Bullets. And when those came out, I just happened to be hanging around comic book shops again, and I got hooked, and I thought, oh, I want to do this. I want to write these things. And so, yeah, I started writing right about then. I started taking screenplay writing classes, and eventually I started talking to comic book writers about format for comic books. And before you knew it, that was easy to find.
Yeah.
So,
That's awesome. So you went through that process, and then what was the first story that you scripted?
mm, um, oh man, what was it? God, that was a while back. Um, I think I was doing some sci-fi stuff that ended up leading to me meeting Keith Murphy, and from there we started. I started writing anything that I thought Keith would be interested in. He
Nice.
had a character, Rockabilly Rex, and I thought we could do something with that, some kind of last gasp thing or something. But once I started writing for it, Keith didn't want to do it anymore. And so we ended up finding our way to free lunch and doing kind of a Rambo meets Star Wars type of story. I think it was
Nice.
called Cortez the Killer or something like that. And yeah, that was fun. And from there, we just kind of kept rolling with it until we
Nice.
finally got the Road to Valhalla.
Nice. So where did you meet Keith?
There was a place in New London, Connecticut called Sarge's Comics. It's still there. Um, it's a huge, huge shop, well worth the ride. And Keith used to have meetings with his Comic Artist Guild groups there. And then I started just going down there and hanging around and throwing my 2 cents in when I felt like I knew something worth hearing.
Right.
And yeah, I just kept hanging in there and watching Keith try to wrangle all those cats and make something out of it.
Yeah.
Um, Yeah, and there were a lot of artists there. I learned a lot from a bunch of people there, but most obviously Keith was the one guy
Yeah.
who really took the time.
Nice. Nice. So then you guys had a bunch of small projects in the beginning, and then when did the conversation about the road to Valhalla begin?
It started right before COVID hit, and then during COVID was when it really came to life because everybody was home. Keith was home, and I was home, and we had been truly just smacking this thing around for a little while, and suddenly Keith hit me up and said, "Hey, I want to draw. Are you up for that story?" And so I wrote this. I mean, I had been doodling with it for so long. I must have had 20 something characters in that story. This could have easily been a film I was writing,
Wow.
And then so I sent it all to him, and he was trying to figure out how he would fit all that into a comic. And eventually we had to chop it all up and chop it down to, I forget, like 6 or 9 characters or whatever it ended up being. There were massive storylines that just got left on the floor.
Yeah. Yeah. That's the tough part, right? That's the
Yeah,
tough part is deciding what to sacrifice and what to keep.
yeah. And Keith, I didn't know that much about. I just thought he would draw it.
Right.
He would just draw it and figure it out. So in the back of my head, I think I had 9 or 12 issues planned. And Keith was like, "How about 3? Let's fit this in 3." And the whole idea of doing Kickstarter was new to us. It'd been around for a while, but we were just it was stubborn. So we waited till later on to get into around COVID. Everything Kickstarter suddenly seemed viable. So
Yeah.
so then so it became three issues, and I had to chop that story up, down to bare bones, and it worked. It worked out good. I mean, people are still buying the book. I'm shocked every time we go to a show. But of course, we're doing a lot of shows in Pennsylvania, and those people haven't seen it quite the way New York or Connecticut has seen the book.
So now you just transitioned to, now you went from creating projects to now presenting your projects to the world, right? So when was your first convention, and why was that the place that you wanted to make your first appearance at a con?
I think my first convention in my hometown. I used to work at this comic shop when I was in middle school and high school, and the guy who owned that shop was an apprentice for Wally Wood, and so he had a con at a local Portuguese club, I think, down the street from the store. And he had brought in all these guys from New York, but he also, like I said, he was friends with Mike Zeck, Dennis Janke, Nick Cuddy, Dick Giordano, and these guys were in the store all the time. So when he put this con on, his name was Bill Pearson, the guy. He went on to become Wally Wood's kind of the head of his estate after he passed away. But Bill put on this big show, and George Perez came down. And so that was like my first con. And that was pretty wild because, there might have been only like 25 people who showed up for the thing, and all these giant comic book stars were there, and nobody knew, nobody cared. Nobody in my hometown cared,
Wow.
But like the first con that I went to where I tried to present my stuff, man, it was definitely with Keith somewhere. Might have been Boston, one of the Boston shows. But I used to spend a lot of time at the Big Apple show. I was going in there all the time when it was downstairs in the church.
Yeah.
And,
Wow. Yeah, that's a long time ago. Yeah.
Yeah. But those shows had a lot of soul,
Yeah, they did. They were fantastic. That was my first introduction into a Comic Con was at the church. And I went there with George, and then that's when we were trying to figure out how to break into No, I went there with Robert Garrett. He did Exmoor. He did Galtow with Exmoor Studios. And then when we were breaking into comics, we were trying to figure out, we didn't have much money. And so it was like, yo, how do we get a free table? And so I met Mike Carbonero at the New Yorker Hotel for the Big Apple. And I did a poster promoting the Big Apple. And so I was like, hey, my name is Sam. I'd like to get a table. And he's like, yeah, go see that guy. It costs this much money. I said, no, you don't understand. He says, who are you? He asked me, who am I 3 times? I was like, this guy must have like ADD. And so then I was like, let me show you something. I pull out the poster. He goes, hey, that's my event. I said, yeah. He goes, you did that? I said, yeah. He goes, can you do it again? I said, sure. He goes, if you do it again, you get a free table. I said, sure. And then for 3 years, we did a lot of his promotions and marketing, and we just got a free table.
Wow. That's
Yeah.
wild.
Yeah, it was awesome. So we saved a whole lot of money.
Yeah. Good time to do it too.
Yeah. We were green. We didn't know. We were hustling at the time.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's wild.
Yeah. So then you went from attending it as a guest to now tabling it. Was the Boston your first tabling event, or?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah. I was doing a lot of hanging around the Big Apple Con, and I got to know a lot of pros. I got to know Paul Gulacy really well, and a few other guys. But I got to know Buzz. Everybody knows Buzz, right?
Mm-hmm.
Buzz was very kind to tear the hell out of the first comic book I got drawn by an artist who was actually pretty good. And looking back at it, but Buzz just said, "Oh, this guy doesn't know how to draw feet. Doesn't want to draw feet. You don't see any feet in any of these pictures, do you?" You know, tore it apart. But yeah, and then Keith.
What's up, Kev?
I think we had done the sci-fi thing, and we were showing it at a table in a Boston show. And we did a couple shows up that way. I think we did 1 or 2 in Connecticut at the time, smaller things, you know. Yeah. I got and I got to meet Hector, and Hector was, you know, a whole nother entity.
So, he's a beast. He's a beast of an illustrator. I mean, it's you know, I always say that his cartoony stuff is where his strength is. I love the way and it's almost his stuff comes to life when he does a specific style. And I mean, he's just a brilliant, fantastic artist. I mean, he crashed at my place for New York Comic Con, and he blessed me with his rendition of my children's book, Mandy Pandy. His art on that was fantastic. The guy was just fantastic. Yeah,
he puts a lot of heart into it. Everything he does. And if his heart's not in it, you're not seeing it. You know.
What's up, KC? Yeah. No, he's fantastic. So now, one thing we never asked, right? Your first convention, leading up to it, is a different mentality than when you're there. If you can recall that first time you're there and you're wondering what the reception is going to be around your work, can you recapture that moment and what you were thinking, what that experience was, and what you learned from it?
I'd spent a couple of New York Comic Cons, not New York, Big Apple shows, hanging out with Gulacy and a few other people, and so I kind of had a feeling for what being behind the table was like, or what you hoped it would be like.
Right.
And when I did get behind the table, Keith did a lot of the interaction. You know, I didn't know what to say. I didn't know quite how to talk about what I had done.
Yeah.
I still have trouble with it, to be honest. And so Keith was, you know, I just watched Keith and what he did. And eventually watching what he did, and he would miss things that I wanted to say. And so then I started talking. And now I won't shut up. So
yeah.
So Keith gets to sit down and draw now while I stand up and interact with everybody. But yeah, I think it was I think I was overwhelmed by the fact that people were picking up the book and looking at it and then asking me questions about it, and I had to have answers for those. Sometimes, you know, they would be asking me questions about stuff that was going to happen 3 issues later. And I wasn't even sure, you know, if that was going to happen 3 issues later. So yeah, it was interesting, and I remember being it was exciting.
Yeah,
it was fun to talk about something that wasn't in existence, you know, 6 months earlier.
Absolutely.
You know, 9 months earlier or whatever, something that just popped out of my head. And you know, it's the same thing now. Like when people, like I had one guy come up to the table and at Mohegan Sun, and he came up to the table and he said he had bought the book yesterday. And he brought it up to his room and he read it. And he came downstairs the next morning to tell me how great it was. And I just thought, are you shitting me?
That's awesome.
That? You came all the way down here to tell me that? Wow. That was a big deal.
That is awesome.
You know? Yeah, when that
it is
happens,
a big deal.
It makes it all worthwhile.
Nice. So now we get, it's funny because you say that, you know, not knowing what to say. And then when you get into your rhythm, I had a problem where I had like diarrhea of the mouth. I wanted to tell him everything, and I'm like, I didn't pace myself right. And I was like, "Oh, this is gonna happen, and that's gonna." And I'm like, "No. We gotta leave a lot, you know, to curiosity." And
sure, yeah.
But when I first broke in, I was just excited to be there. You know,
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
yeah, it's a unique feeling. Now, as we lead up to this Kickstarter, you have the Royals. Where did the Royals come from? Where did the idea come from? And what can we learn about this series?
Well, it came from initially a movie called The Devils that came out in the 70s. Ken
Hmm.
Russell. The movie is a British film that was banned right off the hop, and it's still banned to this day.
Wow.
About a priest in France in the 16th century who is accused of witchcraft and consorting with the devil, and essentially infecting these nuns that live in the monastery or in the geez, I don't know what they call them. Lived in the mission with the priest, because they're all acting crazy, and so they think that he did it, and it's a true story. He ends up being burnt at the stake. So this movie left a big impact on me as a kid, and I hunted down the book. It's based on a book by Aldous Huxley called The Devils of Loudun. And again, like I said, it's a true story. Um, and I was always fascinated by it. One, because of the story itself is just crazy, but the lead actor Oliver Reed, he was such a powerful force, even just in a black and white photo in a horror magazine, which is where I
Right.
first discovered it. I just thought, look at this guy. Who is this freaking guy? He looked badass, you know. So yeah, I've had this thing in my head for years and years, and every so often I'd come across The Devil somewhere, an article about it, or somebody putting out a bootleg DVD or Blu-ray of it, and I was constantly just trying to get my hands on it and get a better copy and watch it. And I was kind of obsessed with the whole thing. And a friend of mine who's a Dungeons and Dragons fan, I'm a Dungeons and Dragons fan, and he asked me, we should do a book. He's an artist, my buddy, and he said, hey, write up a Conan type of thing for me, and it kind of a Dungeons and Dragons thing. So I said, okay. I wrote it up. I sent it to him, and it starts out in a bar. And he said, why do these things always start out in a bar? That's just stupid. So he didn't
Because
say,
that's where all the jokes start up at.
yeah, I don't know. So I didn't think anything of it. I just said, okay, well, he doesn't like it. And I just sat on my computer. A couple weeks later, I go to a comic book shop, like a mini con they were having at this shop up the road from my house. And there's this kid sitting next to me with all this wild anime type of art, which is not my thing really.
Right.
But certainly hanging out with Hector, who likes it quite a bit. I've been exposed to it enough to find my own way into it and find some respect for it. This kid starts talking to me about it, and he's very excited. He hears me telling Hector about the story, and he asks me about it and asks me to send it to him. So I do, and this kid decides, hey, he starts sending me back sketches of the characters, and I think, wow, these look really cool. Next thing I know, here we are. The Royal was born. I just took pieces of the original story of the priest, and I just kind of turned it into kind of a Conan the Barbarian, what if Conan the Barbarian entered in a season of Game of Thrones?
Nice.
What would that character be like? What kind of shit would he get up to? Especially if he's impersonating a priest. So
Nice.
and that's kind of what the Royal is.
Nice. Nice. Yeah. And so, how much detail do you write in your scripts? Do you give to the artist? Are you writing the scripts like the DC Comics way or the Marvel Comics way?
Usually the Marvel Comics way.
Okay.
But if there's like particular dialogue or particular things that need to, be in the panel somewhere,
Right.
that are gonna, Easter egg, and come up, bear fruit later, yeah, I'll put those in there, and I'll make a point of, hey, make sure you have this in there, make sure you have that in there.
Right.
But I prefer the Marvel way. It's easier just to bang it out that way, right?
Yeah, absolutely. And so now the artist is also the colorist?
He is. He's also the colorist and the letterer.
Okay, so now
That's cute.
the swatch, the colors, the style of coloring, it stands out, right?
Oh,
And
yeah.
so whose idea was for this palette and this look?
That's all him.
Nice.
Yeah, he came up with it, and I just decided to, not complain about it. There's nothing to complain about. It's
Yeah,
unique.
no, it is.
Yeah.
It is. I also love the now when the artist started on it. What did you have the character designs already secured, or did you describe it and leave it up to him to design it?
Well, I had Oliver Reed absolutely, locked in. I wanted Oliver Reed as this character. I wanted him to be changed, obviously, from the movie some, but I definitely had him, and I sent him a list of of movie stars or models or whatever, people that I thought resembled the character, and then he would bring them to life his way. Like that, there's one character. He's the big guy, Henry. His name is, and um, I had him just as some biker guy sitting on the back of a motorcycle, and I said, "This is something like this."
Right.
And he created this behemoth of a character, this monster, and
Yeah.
so yeah, he definitely everything he's done has contributed to how I use the characters.
Yeah. I mean, he
Truly a
has.
collaborator.
Yeah. I mean, this style of coloring, um, the way he does it, it creates a mood,
Hmm.
and it's not your typical style of coloring, right?
You
But
know.
but it works perfectly in this because the way he uses lighting,
Hmm.
it's just brilliant. I mean, it's a different style. I've never seen this type of coloring style before, but it works perfectly for this.
Yeah, he's really got his own thing going. He's really yeah, unique. I never know what to expect, and it's kind of more fun that way. I say he needs this, he needs that, and I just let him go. And if it's a little too far left or a little too far right, I'll say something. And usually, I just kind of let him have his own thing, though, because like you said, it's unique, it's interesting. So
Yeah,
yeah,
absolutely.
he really makes it's his own. It's even I even mentioned it to Liam Sharp. I showed it to Liam Sharp, and he was like, "Oh wow, I really like it." He mentioned something about the coloring and the way he puts it together. He liked it.
Right. Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. So now the Royal, how far are you looking as far as this? This is a one shot. Is it an ongoing series? Is it a limited series?
Right now, we're looking to we want to take it as far as we can. We want to put out as many issues as possible. But this first arc will be 5 issues, and if we get to issue 4 and people are still buying it, then I've already got a story for the next 5.
Nice, nice.
So yeah, we're looking. That's the plan, is to make this an ongoing series, which is
Right,
strange. I don't know how that will work with the Kickstarter type of format.
right,
I mean, with a little luck, we'll be able to get it to issue 4 and then no longer need Kickstarter. The book will
right.
sell itself. That's the dream, right? So
Yeah. Tell me about it. Tell me about it. I think I've done 13 campaigns already. Yeah, I live in Kickstarter
yeah,
right now.
it's weird to be talking to guys like JD Calderon and Rosario and those guys who they seem to have a new campaign every other week.
Every other week, I can't keep up.
Yeah, but they
and
do it smart.
they do it smart. I mean, the way he does it, it's very complex because I own a lot of JD stuff, but then I got confused at a certain point. I was like, do I already have this? I was like, I don't know if I have this already. So there's like you have to go through your archives and go through everything, because because sometimes he'll do a black and white edition and a color edition, and then he does it.
Uh,
So it's like I don't know which one I have now anymore. So um but yeah, but these guys live on. I mean, I think they do like 12 campaigns a year or something like that. It's crazy.
yeah, it feels like I said, it feels like as soon as one ends, they're starting up another.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely, absolutely. So, elevator pitch. You know, I'm gonna give you
That's
the
been the
screen. I'm gonna give you the screen. It's all. Give that elevator pitch, Betty.
What basically the Royal is, as I said before, it's Conan the Barbarian impersonating a priest on a season of Game of Thrones. So it's like an issue with Savage Sword, but it's I don't know. I can't say it's got more meat. Conan over the last couple of years has been pretty good. Obviously, I'm a huge Robert Howard fan, so the story is kind of it's got a lot of different directions it goes in. And so it's got all the savage action. These 3 guys aren't your average priests, um, and for this is the part where I get like, Sam, I'm going to start giving away too much. Uh, but yeah, that's where I kind of leave it. Is yeah, it's Savage Sword. on a season of Game of Thrones. So it's
Awesome.
very Game of Thrones with the I don't want to say it's politics, but there's a lot of moving parts. There's different characters who are involved in the situation in different ways, and they affect these three guys. These three guys are essentially on the run through the whole story, and we get flashbacks into their backstory about how they ended up on the run.
Right.
And a lot of the story is unfolded that way. It's almost like what I want to do is I want it to be like a Tarantino type of thing. So you come into the story right in the middle of the real story, and you're following them on this quest that they have to accomplish. And while they're on that quest, they're telling you their backstory. And by the time you get to the end of the story, everybody knows, the whole full range of emotion within the story.
Nice.
Sort of the way
Nice.
Tarantino does it.
Yeah. And how many pages is this issue?
24?
24
24,
pages?
five issues at 24 pages.
Nice. So now, outside of the Kickstarter, where the link is in the chat, guys, and it's also in the summary, outside of the Kickstarter, where can people find you?
Lightspeed Spirit on Facebook page. You can also find me at GWP, Guildworks Productions on Facebook as well. I've got me and Hector have a story coming out with Panico Press.
Oh, nice.
I want to say May it's coming out in their Gunbreed title. And I'm a bit more with them from there on, actually. I'll be writing with them. Hopefully we'll be bringing Hector back as well. And Hector's got another issue of Hell's Blood coming out that I helped him write. So
nice. You're busy.
Oh yeah, dude.
Nice.
I'm trying to
what about conventions?
Keith and I have another Road to Valhalla sitting in the wings, waiting for him to finish drawing it. So
nice.
Yeah.
How far into it is he in?
Huh?
How far is Keith into it?
I want to say we're halfway.
Nice.
And it's just a matter of I think Keith making some time to dedicate to finishing it. And we also have a
time is
trade
the
of the
challenge.
first group. Yeah, time is a challenge, especially as we're getting older and kids are having kids and all that stuff, life going on around you while you're just trying to just make your goddamn comics.
Yeah, I know. I was talking to my wife because I feel like we're strangers in the night, and because I get up at 5 every day. I'll take my pre-workout, I'll let the dogs out, take my pre-workout drink, I'll draw for an hour while the pre-workout settles in. I'll work out, get ready, go to work. I'm at work all day. I get home 6 o'clock, we'll have dinner, then I'm in the studio and I'm drawing until my eyes start getting heavy. And then I go to bed and I do it over again and I do it over again and I do it, and I feel like I'm just like a slave to my craft and I'm missing the world at large,
Well, that might be a good thing depending on how you look at it.
Well, the world's a little crazy out there, right? But yeah. So it just feels like the hustle's real, but I think sometimes taking time to smell the roses and enjoy the beauty of life, because there are good things, even though there's chaos out there.
No, without a doubt. Yeah. Keith and I were just Keith Actor and I were just in Pennsylvania at a show last weekend. The weekend before that, I was at a show in Danbury. I think this is the 5th podcast I've done in the last month and a half.
Nice.
Trying to get people interested in the Royal and to let them know it's there.
Yeah, absolutely. And what conventions have you got for the rest of the year?
We're definitely doing Terrificon in Mohegan Sun. We've got another one in Pennsylvania. I think it's Carlisle, Pennsylvania. There's talk of one in Hershey. We've got a couple in Massachusetts. Oh man, I can't remember all the ones. I think there's one called Fan Fusion in Massachusetts we're doing.
Yeah. Nice. I
think it's in August. Yeah, and then there's obviously Terrificon, which is also in August. What else, man? And I know that there's still Keith and Hector both. I mean, they look for shows like in the backwoods corner of some strange place. They come up with these things. Nice. So yeah, if I can make it, I go to as many of them as I can with them, especially with all this stuff coming out. I've got this coming out Panico Press is going to finally put out Monster or Master.
Yeah.
The book I did a couple years ago. I tried to Kickstarter and there was all that chaos around it. That's finally going to see the light of day in a couple months too, hopefully. So
Nice.
and there'll be a big push for that once that comes out. I'm sure I'll be running all over the place trying to get that in people's hands.
That's awesome. So any final words for everybody out there?
Where the hell are you, George?
Yes. Where is the world? Is George Medina? Where in the world?
Thank you, George, for definitely being one of the first people to pledge on this.
Yes, absolutely.
I'm pulling this battleship through 20 miles of mud.
Well, you got 12 days, and anything can happen in 12 days. I know you're a little about 40% there, something like that, around there, 38%, 40%.
Yeah, about
right?
that.
Yeah, and so you got 12 days left, guys. The links in the chat. Links is also in the summary. Go and check out the Royal. It's fantastic. And you got a lot of stuff. And if you want to find out more about John Escobales, just check out the links in the chat and give it a shot, man. Thank you for being a guest on the show, brother. You're welcome anytime. You have the link. You can just sign up whenever you want.
Great. Yeah, I will be. I'll be back.
You got it, buddy.
And hang in there. Keep your head up, dude.
Same here, buddy.
All right. Be good.
Peace.
Later.
That's John Escobales. Again, check out the Royal right now on Kickstarter. 12 days left to go, guys. Give it a shot, man. This is the reason why we have our guests on the show, right? To drive traffic to their projects. And with your help, we can get this bad boy funded. It's I know what it's like, when the worst part of Kickstarters is when it stalls, right? The first couple of days, it's fun and exciting, adrenaline's going, and then you just hit a wall and like, oh, what the hell just happened here? What's going on? Where did everybody go? Right. And it's the worst. I know I had to cancel one of my campaigns because nobody came out to play. I was like, nobody wants to play with me. I was like, this is ridiculous. So I was like, I just can't be humiliated. So I just canceled it. I said, that's it. It's over. Right. And but I also had a campaign where I thought it wasn't going to get funded. And then somehow the last 4 days you guys showed up. So anything is possible. This is a great concept. It's a great art. You got to check it out. The art style, the character designs, the page layouts. I mean, the story is just fantastic, man. Check it out, guys. Give it a shot. And George Medina's gonna be here tonight. I don't know, man. Ever since he got promoted, man, he's just like, not showing up to the shows. But I'm gonna have to start finding him, man. Like 50 push-ups every time we get on the show. I'm sure he can't get past 5, but we're gonna challenge him for 50. And so yes. What's up, San Martino in the house? So, no shows for me until July. I do have some covers that I'm doing for other indies out there, and I will announce them as they get ready to debut and release them. So I'm doing covers. That's as far as I can go because I got my own projects. So I'm not going to do full stories for anybody or storyboards or anything like that, but I will do covers. So if you're looking for a cover and you like my style and you think it'll complement your story, just hit me up and we'll talk. But yeah, I do have a couple of covers coming out this year, and some surprise announcements later this year with regards to. I'm not going to talk about which characters or what stories, but something's coming down this pike this year. So I'll let you know as we get closer to that as well. Again, I think I can't tell you what George is doing, but if you go to getyourmeds.com, he's taking pre-orders for the Shameless Plug, which is he's trending really well with pre-orders on his website. And so you want to get yourself a copy of the Shameless Plug if you haven't done so already. If you haven't done so already, sign up for There's an Alien in My Toilet, issue number 8, the Duty Files. This one's going to be fire, guys. I mean, you're going to find out. I mean, Duty now creates a bond with a rival in order to go up against the world at large. Everybody's after Duty, bro. Everybody's after Duty. You have WANA, We Are Not Alone Incorporated. You got No Boo For You, Catching Ghosts of What We Do after Duty. You got Agent Doe. You got General Goatee. You got the pirate scores that are after him. The world, you got Angry Wolves. You got Angry Bears. You got Patrick and Brittany, and I mean, everybody's after Duty. So, and now he needs a friend, and he forms an alliance with someone you wouldn't have expected, and this is going to be fun. This one's everyone's getting closer now. So we're down to the last 3 issues of this story. So it was a 10-issue comic book series. We're up to issue 8, and we'll be closing out that series at the end by spring next year. So come along for the ride. The Duty Files on Kickstarter launches this summer. And then for everybody who backed Cosmic Wars, we are on target to get that shipped out to you in May. So thank you, everybody who backed that campaign. And thank you, everybody, for watching the show. Catch the Craze podcast, founded in 2005, the first and longest running independent comic book podcast in the game. For indies, by indies. When we grow, so does the independent community. Give us a like, hit that subscribe, share it with a friend, let everybody know where you found us. We wish you guys all the best. Keep drawing, keep writing, keep creating, because stories is what makes the universe go round. So thank you, everybody, for watching Catch the Craze podcast. With that said, I am Sam, the crazy man Vera, and I am out. It's just easy. It does not.
Crazy. Acquiesce.
No, it's talking about my friend Acquiesce. Say my name, right?
This is what you were thinking? Oh, Lord.
He described me. He said, I'm the...
What? Catch the Craze. You're listening to Catch the Craze. You're listening to Catch the Craze. You're listening to Catch the Craze. You are listening to Catch the Craze on Catch the Craze. You're listening to Catch the Craze.